Hello friends, welcome to another product demo from Silicon Craftsman, the Product and User Experience Guild at Near. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe. We've got a ton of content coming up because there are a lot of product launches and releases coming up, both on Near and the Aurora ecosystems. Today, we're going to make some money! We're going to learn how to stake the ABR token, which is the AllBridge token. Now, you may have seen our last video. If you haven't, you can go check it out now. AllBridge is a multi-chain bridge that launched recently. It supports Aurora and Terra, and it will have support for Near mainnet soon. So as always, we love getting in early on the action. We believe that the value is created from 0 to 1. And today, we're going to do some digging to find out whether there are some opportunities in this new bridge economy. We're going to have a really quick overview of what AllBridge is. If you want to dive deeper, go check the previous video on that. Then we're going to look a little bit into the AllBridge documentation just to get a better understanding of how the fees work and what the role of staking is within the ecosystem. And finally, we're going to get some ABR token to stake. So let's dive right in. AllBridge is a multi-chain bridge. That means that you can send assets from other ecosystems into Aurora. Specifically, as we saw in the last video, now we can send Luna and UST into Near. That prompted a huge 23% rally, which is still ongoing, by the way. But something piqued my curiosity. ABR token can also be transferred between the two networks. So I started digging. What is this ABR token? From the AllBridge main page, we see two options: transfer assets, which we've already covered in the previous video, and stake ABR. There's two things that should jump at you immediately from the stake ABR page. The first one is that you can choose which chain you stake in. The second one is an APR with a whopping 370%. And the third one is that the fee reduces from 0.3% to much lower if you stake ABR. But as always, we went one step deeper. So we clicked on the little document icon here at the bottom, which takes us to the documentation. Now, the documentation is probably the crypto's best kept secret. Every single project has a really good documentation website that looks like this one, which goes into in-depth knowledge. Everything you have ever seen people asking on a Telegram channel, everything you have ever wondered, everything that would have probably made you a ton of money if you had understood early on, it's written right here. So we strongly encourage you to go read this. And if you don't, then just subscribe to this channel and we'll try to summarize the things that we believe are the most important. So if you go to the bridge fee section, we see that the AllBridge channel has a cost. This is a service, hence you pay a 0.3% fee. I don't think this is too bad. This is actually within range of the 0.3% that you would pay for a swap on Ref or some of the other DEXs, decentralized exchanges. However, the fee is dynamic. So the first benefit that you would get from staking ABR is it reduces your fee. There are some maths here, but I think we can keep it simple and understand that you can pay a lower fee if you stake. Then moving on to the ABR tokenomics and use case, we see that the first one is reduction in the bridge fee, which we've already covered. And the second one is for staking, which we will be doing today. And the third one is a token subscription fee. So I learned that if you want your token to be part of the AllBridge ecosystem, you actually have to pay AllBridge a fee. So pretty interesting. AllBridge now has two revenue streams. The first one is the fee paid by the user, and the second one is the subscription fee paid by the project using AllBridge. Then lastly, which is probably the most important bit for us if you want to make a passive income from this bridge economy, is 80% of all the fees will go to ABR staking pool. As I understand it, this is both the fee paid by the user, the 0.3%, and the fees from the subscription. Now, finally, after you do your own research, if you hypothetically chose to get some ABR, we can see that there on the how to get ABR page, there is a DEX listed for each one of the networks. On Aurora, it lists 3 Solaris. However, I do note that the ABR USDC pool is quite shallow. If existent at all. So I had to get some ABR from TerraSwap. These probably will have some liquidity, probably even by the time this video goes live. But if you have any issues, we'll just do it through TerraSwap for now, given that the two ecosystems are connected. Now, the last thing I want to note is that the APR actually changes for each chain. So let's just go through the other chains to give a comparison. So we've got 116% APR on Avalanche, 68% on Binance Smart Chain, 126 in Shallow, 95% Phantom. So these are all pretty high. 43% Solana. And finally, 480% on Terra. So you may be wondering, why are Terra 480% and Aurora so high? Because you're getting in early. Woo! First, there's obviously a correlation between how much ABR is in the pool and how high the APR is. That is because the fees gets distributed to the amount of people in the pool. The larger the pool gets, the less fees there are to share around. But second, and most importantly, the AllBridge just launched on Terra and Aurora. Actually, when I did my research for this video, the APR was non-existent. It said that the APR would go live, the calculation, from the 27th of December. So we only have a few days data, and this is the APR showing like hours ago. So we're getting in hot. Now, my thesis for this is fairly simple. The amount of assets that have been bridged between Aurora and Terra is fairly limited, I'd say so far. But the amount of assets that we can expect to be bridged between Aurora and Terra is ginormous. There is a lot of capital flowing into the Aurora ecosystem. Luna is very well established and growing. So I believe that staking ABR and receiving 80% of the fees paid by users and new projects wanted to be added, it's actually a pretty good deal. So let's get some ABR. As I mentioned, according to the documentation, ABR will be available on Trisolaris. No liquidity yet. Now, if you want to get in early like me, if you're a savage, if you don't want to wait for the liquidity to come in because you are the one that brings in the liquidity, I'll tell you what I did. Step one, I already had some near, so I just went to WannaSwap and I swapped some near for ATUST. You can do ATUSD or Luna, it really makes no difference. Then I used the bridge to send the assets that I acquired from WannaSwap back into Terra. And now that I have the assets on Terra, I'm going to swap them for ABR. So I've got one Luna and I've got some UST. Let's swap 365 USD. So let's swap it all for ABR. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stake half of the ABR on Terra, and then I'm going to stake the other half on Aurora. Because I think the way I understand it is the fees are paid on the originating chain, and I want to be capturing profits on both the Terra side and the Aurora side. 365 USD yields us 91 APR at a rate of $4. Actually, I'll leave a tiny bit of UST because sometimes the fee is paid in UST. So I'll do 363. Seems like a round number. Swap. Complete. Yeah, we're going to swap a little bit more Luna as well for ABR. I'm bullish on this one. Fantastic. So big reminder that on Terra, you always want to leave some Luna and UST on your wallets because you need to pay fees. So I'm just going to quickly swap a little bit more Luna for UST because I've run out of gas a few times already. This is frustrating, but it actually makes me insanely bullish on Near because now we have assets that are very well established, such as UST and Luna, and we will be able to use them on the Aurora and Near ecosystems that have much, much lower transaction costs. Awesome. So now that we have acquired our ABR, we're going to first stake some on Terra, and then we're going to move on to Aurora. So let's do about half. Stake done. As you can see, the staking process is actually quite simple. And now let's do the field calculator. So we have 74 ABR staked, and we can see how the fee goes down from 0.03 to, yeah, it's a massive savings. The ABR could basically pay for itself with the savings just on the fee. Plus, you've got the massive APRs. Obviously, this is likely to go down as the pool increases in price, but do not underestimate the outsized profits that you can capture in the first few days. So now we're going to send the remaining ABR over to Aurora, which is brilliant because it gives us an opportunity to showcase the bridge. So we select from Terra to Aurora, asset ABR, connect wallet, maximum amount. The fee calculation has been reduced because we've got a little bit of ABR staked. Send, approve. 5 confirmations usually take a few minutes. The final step is to connect our Aurora wallet, which is MetaMask, receive transaction, we sign. Transaction successful. This is actually a pretty good UI. The first option is to add the ABR token to your MetaMask wallet, because even though the coins are there on the blockchain, the MetaMask UI will not have it by default. You have to add it. And then finally is swap on True Solaris. I wonder whether they've added liquidity. I last checked last night. Yeah. So we can say even $1, there's not enough liquidity for this trade. So this may be an opportunity. If you are a whale, you could send over a ton of ABR, list it for a premium, and then make some money from lazy people who don't want to go through the bridge. Easy. So now that we have sent ABR to Aurora, let's stake. Now we select the Aurora blockchain. We connect to MetaMask. It automatically identifies that we have 49.64. We staked some earlier. Maximum amount, stake, approve. And that's it. So really quick summary. First, we bought UST on Wanaswap because we had our assets on the Near ecosystem. On Wanaswap, you can get Luna or UST. Then we sent those assets over the AllBridge to the Terra ecosystem. On the Terra ecosystem, we swapped them for the ABR token, and then we split our new ABR token half on the Terra ecosystem, where we will earning 80% of all the fees. Going forward, that is currently about 480% APR. And then we send the remaining ABR over the AllBridge back into Aurora, and we staked it on the Aurora chain for 295 APR. So now I'm going to go take a nap and make some sweet dollar cash while we earn some profits. Now, the last thing is AllBridge is actually ranked number 1,391 on CoinGecko with a market cap of barely 7.5 million. So not only will we be able to make a small profit from all the fees paid on all the money flowing between the Aurora and Terra ecosystems, but also there is a very good chance that any money that we stake in ABR tokens could also have capital gains. Do your own research. Hope you find this useful. Make sure that you subscribe because we have a ton of content coming up, including a new bridge that just launched, multi-chain, also known as AnySwap. We'll be covering that next. Have a nice day and Merry Christmas.